I walked out of Vic's clinic into a new world. I could barely believe the difference a new cyberdeck brought. The speed, the clarity. The fact it was able to connect to my systems better. It wasn't 50-year-old tech trying to connect to modern Kiroshi anymore. The Seicho MK2 wasn't top of the line, but it was a specialist deck, made for rapid instant break-ins and uploads. It was more than 3 times the power of the Militech just outright. And that was only the numbers, and the numbers didn't tell the whole story. It was new architecture. The difference of more than 50 years of improvements on the programming code. Well, 50 years was saying a lot considering the data crash pushed everything back so much the Paralin was even still being sold. But the Seicho was new, responsive, and designed for someone like me. In my old life, it would be the difference in RAM from going from a DDR2 to a DDR5 memory stick. You could have both offer the same level of RAM, but the DDR5 was a different beast even with the same numbers. I glanced at a vending machine, as I walked past, reaching down and scooping up the soda it dropped. I didn't even need to slow down. Didn't need to hold my eyes on the machine as I breached through its ice. No. I simply looked, and instantly the pointed knives of my attack slipped through all the defenses. I stepped out onto the street. People traveling up and down the streets moved past me, but it didn't matter. I was utterly focused on the netscape. As I slipped through barriers, defenses, and peeked into their secrets. This was cool. I was feeling pretty good once I got home, but I had a lot of work to do. First, I needed to level my programming skill up some more, because I wanted to do something crazy. I wanted my own quick hack. That was my goal. I wanted to be the netrunner that creates their own tools, because I wasn't some script kiddie playing around. I was Motoko fucking Kusanagi. I might not be the major, but I would do her proud by not being a net moron. So I took off my jacket, plopped my gloves on the table, stretched my fingers and got to typing. Ping was still my target. I had managed to clean up a lot of the code, although now that I had a new deck I needed to adjust it again. The downside of slimming the program so much, but now it was a slim program that basically just did the one thing. It highlighted everything connected to the network, but I wanted it to do more than that. It could do more than that. First thing started adding to the program trying to make it harder to detect. Stealth was still my biggest advantage, and if I could ping a network without anyone noticing, even if there was an active netrunner, that would be an advantage I couldn't ignore. I knew just enough about programming now that as I started writing code to try and hide the ping network access that I knew it wasn't going to totally work, but that wasn't the point. I didn't need perfect. I just needed code that I could improve, correct, rip apart and start again if I needed. It was all about grinding, and even within just a few minutes of work, I got another alert. 100 programming XP gained. Well, that just meant I was on the right track. Hey June. I called out as I continued to type along. This bit of code was just not working, and it was driving me nuts. Even my debug knowledge, while helpful, wasn't enough to fix it immediately. Although a sense of knowing had narrowed the bug down to just a small section of the code. Something here was wrong. I knew it was wrong. I knew it wouldn't work and would crash if I tried to use it, but I didn't know why. I was down to reading through each line of code going through the section I just knew something was wrong at. Luckily once I finished reading a bit of the code I could ignore it after. The bug wasn't in anything I had already checked. So I just had to keep reading down the lines till I find it. Motoko. You okay? This bug is going to die June. I kill things for a living, so I will eventually kill this bug too. I told him as my fingers continued to thrash along the keyboard slowly. Line after line the code dropped down further and further. I was nearing the end now. That's why. The port information was wrong. I had mistyped while going through it. A few moments later I finished the line and I knew it would work. The surety from debug telling me this bit of code would work. It wasn't pretty. It was messy and there was a memory leak in there I was gonna need to work out. But it worked. Programming skill level up. Programming 3. Phew. Get it? He asked as I glanced up. June had obviously made himself at home while I was focused, a burrito in his hands as he sat on the couch, beside me. I honestly hadn't even felt him sit down. Yeah, mostly. It's still garbage code, but it works, and it's mine. I told him with a smile as he nodded slowly, eyes on me as he ate his burrito. What? You are so weird now. I'm proud of you, for actually sticking through it enough to learn net running stuff, but it's still so weird to see you so focused. He offered as he bit into his burrito and started chewing, eyes never leaving me. I felt my cheeks heating up a bit. It's just a useful skill. And it's not boring exactly. I don't really get bored as long as I'm doing something nowadays. I had to admit. Fact was, that fully knowing you could improve just by slamming your face into something made boredom sort of a non-issue. Like how someone can sit behind a computer and grind a stat in a video game, it was that same sense. Sure, you had already killed 1,000 goblins, but you only needed another 400 and you would leveled your sword skill. That same sense of just a bit more to get there was nice. Well, I am glad. Maybe you'll start putting out some useful programs, get rich and retire from all this crazy merc stuff. Never, I said with a sharp grin. Even if I'm a bajillionaire, I'll still go out into the city and beat up gonks, I cried out, chrome fist raised. Yeah, I know, he said, not quite laughing but with a small smile on his face. I'll just have to keep getting dragged into your disasters to keep you safe. You followed me last time. I didn't drag you anywhere. Sure, he said, disagreeing with me in tone as he reached out and patted me on the head a few times. Whatever you say, Emoto. Just make sure you tell me before you go do something crazy again. I huffed at him, stupid June knee. But since I was a generous little sister, I decided not to kick him while he ate. I instead focused on the program in front of me. It might be workable now. But it wasn't done. And neither was I. After a few more hours of fixing the code that I just wrote, because as I leveled up, I already knew a few things I could do to improve it. I sat back. June was still sitting beside me, although he had moved around a few times since the last time we chatted. He was now on the floor instead of the couch cleaning his equipment. His thermal katana, currently getting a going over as he sat and worked over the blade. I watched as he slowly wiped down the blade. He had already put it in a sharpener. The mechanical system rehoning the blade to a molecular edge. Science katanas were pretty cool. I should probably clean up mine too. I always did a little bit of work cleaning everything up when I was done, but my fingers were feeling a little itchy still. So I pushed my laptop away, and instead grabbed my axe. The guitar thrummed lightly as I hit some random notes, just a way to stretch out my fingers. The noise drew Jean's attention as he looked up. Still interested in being a rocker boy, huh? It's nice. To do something that has nothing to do with my merc work. I told him honestly as I started strumming a little song. Nothing in particular. Instead just a mishmash of different songs and chords that I wanted to hear. Still no good at it, he told me, teasing after a few minutes of me just playing around. Outrage. Vengeance. I instantly started into the opening riff to Ballad of Buck Ravers. My eyes locked on June as I played oldies just to punish my brother that had no taste. His nose scrunched up as I started the vocals. Lost another day. To pointless drudgery. Motoko, stop it. Play something good. I ignored his pleading, fully getting into it as I jumped onto the couch and started rocking out. I mean, sure, one of the neighbors started pounding on the walls mid-song, but the look of irritation on June's face was well worth it. That afternoon, long after I had driven June away with my perfect rendition of Samurai. Okay, it could still use some work, but it wasn't bad anymore. I was actually fairly competent with my guitar now. My voice could probably still use some practice though. Anyway, I got a call from someone I didn't expect. Ichi. Motoko. Hey, do you got a minute? I need some help. Ichi's voice started as soon as I picked up, even before I could say anything. What? Of course, Ichi, what's wrong? Jotaro Shobo is dead. Murdered at the Ho. I don't have a job anymore. Yeah, I heard about that from June, but what do you mean you don't have a job? Shobo needed people to haul stuff around, the new owner of Ho doesn't. Anyway, listen. I know you're crazy and stuff. You don't happen to have some work I can back you up on? You know I'm not amazing with iron, but I'm a good driver. I can. Whoa whoa Ichi, slow down. I'm more than happy to work with you if you want, but what's going on? You're sounding freaked, I told him, and he did. He sounded stressed as fuck. I never told you. My parents are deadbeats. I don't even see them, but I live with my grandmother. She's old Motoko. Can't really work anymore, but I can't just. I pay the rent and buy food and stuff, but without my job with Jotaro I don't. Shit. Shit. This was my fault. I hadn't even considered the repercussions of killing Jotaro on my tomb. Okay, it didn't matter, I still would have killed him. I like Ichi, but his comfortable job wasn't worth the monstrous shit Jotaro did, but that didn't mean I wasn't responsible here. The TC won't give you work? I mean, you did great during the war, right? Motoko, the war is over. There were a lot of drivers that don't have a job anymore. The old-timers can go back to their old jobs, the ones that made a name for themselves, can get pulled in under a boss, but Jotaro was my boss. He was the only one that would speak for me. I'm back to square one. Ouch. That actually sucked. Well, it's a good thing you got your good tomb, Motoko, then. Forget the TC Ichi. They pay shit, and your boss was a psycho. Motoko mercenary jobs pay way better. I told him proudly. Then he laughed. You certainly haven't changed. But listen, I don't have a lot of eddies right now. Do you have anything I can help with? I considered the problem. First off, I really didn't. It wasn't like I had a bunch of scav. Hey Ichi, you got around a lot in the city during the war, right? Yeah, I traveled all over. Then do you know where like all the rippers in the city are? All? No, probably not. I know most of them though. Jotaro. Well, he had deliveries to different rippers. Yeah, he is a monster, let's move past that. He is dead. Knife to the throat. Terrible way to go. Listen, I need to find a specific ripper. I don't know exactly what his name is or anything, but I caught a rumor that a ripper is working with the scavs. In other words, people going to him for work sometimes disappear, and their chrome ends up in scav hands. Fuck. Yeah, but if we find him, and confirm it, I can smash the scavs, kill the ripper, and end up with a whole lot of premium chrome and equipment. I'll need someone who can clear out a base for me. Collect the loot. You wouldn't happen to know a guy? I know a guy. Ichi said, sounding excited. I could practically hear the cash register noise going on in his mind. Cool. So how about you come by? We'll go hit all the rippers you know. If I see the place I'll know which one. Really? Just by seeing it? Come on Ichi. How many scavs do you think I've killed? I can practically smell them. I told him with a laugh which he shared. We agreed to meet up and drive around. If Regina or Wakako weren't going to get back to me soon enough, I'll just make my own gigs. With tombs. And rippers. Although Ichi did come around in his truck, I pulled him into my quadra instead. This was just reconnaissance after all. It was funny, it actually didn't take me long to find the right place. The only thing I remember about the quest after racking my brain about it was that I ended up gaining the quest in the game while I was around Kabuki Market. The big roundabout that had the dewdrop in. So I knew it had to be around there. With Ichi's help, mostly his street knowledge, and helping navigate the side streets, we only stopped at 2 other rippers before we came to a ripper shop set up in an alley that was twigging me hard. When we walked in, I was already sure about it. Welcome. How can I help today? Need some new chrome? He asked Ichi as he entered in front of me looking very excited, until he noticed me following in. The multiple weapons I was carrying including my thermal katana had the guy instantly looking nervous. Ichi followed through on what I told him, our little plot to make sure it wasn't weird we were walking in. Of course the fact he was blushing a bit made it all the funnier. I'm looking for a Mr. Stud, he said in the most dead inside voice I had ever heard from the boy. I pointedly wasn't looking straight at Ichi. But I was still recording it. This might be a more private PD, but I was planning on bribing Judy and getting this one done so I could share it with the crew. Malcolm was going to die when he saw this. And Hiromi would never leave Ichi alone. Yeah, I have a few models. Come on in son, And this is your girlfriend? Pimp. I offered, instead making Ichi turn on me, his face gaping in utter horror at my words. Make sure my little guy gets something packing, okay? I said, cold blood cranked up to maximum, the only reason my face wasn't breaking down into absolute mirth at the look on Ichi's face. Wha? Motoko? The Ripper sounded confused, looking a little surprised at the way this entire conversation was going. Fine. You win the 50 eddies. Sorry Doc, just a prank on my tomb here. Nice place. Next time I get some chrome, I'll know where to come, I told him as I walked back out of the office, leaving a stupefied Ripper and an angry Ichi following after. Blackmail. Get. Dash. It's not funny. Ichi growled at me. It totally is, and it means that Doc won't think twice about us until it's too late. I really doubt us going in, browsing and walking out is going to cause him to wonder either. It would, since you have no poker face and it looked like you were trying to case the place. Now it just looks like you were embarrassed. I am embarrassed. Well, don't worry. That Doc is the one. He'll be dead soon and no one but me will ever know. I lied blatantly. Motoko. Why did you just lie to me? I have no idea what you are talking about, Ichi. You pointedly looked away from me, and weren't able to stop grinning when you just said that. That's your lying face. Nope. Doesn't sound like me. Come on, let's go call everyone. More hands will make clearing that place way easier. Motoko. Oh, look, a call. I told him as I quickly called Malcolm to invite him to the gig. This was going to be fun. Funnily enough, we were all at the Ho Club that night. Even Hiromi made it. Of course the place was wildly different right out the gate. There was still a bunch of TC guys, but the atmosphere had changed. It was more relaxed, and there were signs up, talking about opening of the upstairs areas. Apparently the private TC second floor was opening up soon to bring more attention to the bar. I honestly didn't want to meet up here, but it was kinda the closest club to everyone's home. And despite my knowledge about Jotaro, most of the others had no idea. I guess since he was dead it was fine now. So here is the gig, I whispered, sending everyone a text message with the details I had put together, including the address and pictures of the building. Both back and front. Ichi and I had driven around, enough that I had confirmed the scav base below as well. I let them read the little snippet I had put together and everyone was nodding along as they read through. So what's the cut for everyone? Malcolm asked before even finishing the brief. Fair split between everyone, excluding any chrome that someone wants to chip. Just like last time, but this time we'll be looting more thoroughly. There should be Ripper equipment we can clip, for example. Who are we selling to? Hiromi asked, breaking in as Malcolm was practically bursting at the seams at the idea of all the eddies. I haven't got that far yet. Gonk. Nope. We aren't doing that again. Fine. I'll make some calls and find buyers. Motoko. Send me your fixer's number as well. You know Wakako, right? She might have some buyers as well, Hiromi demanded as her eyes went gold and she sat back as she started calling. Someone? Wow, Hiromi was pretty cool. I sent her a text with Wakako's number and refocused on the boys. How much loot are we looking at, Motoko? Honestly? No idea. But that's the thing. We clear this place, and if I do it fast enough, maybe I can pull some information on another den. I would like to be able to just keep hitting them. That'll piss off the scavs. Like seriously piss them off. They come after you. After us. Not if we do it without anyone knowing, I told him firmly. I go and clear them as quietly as I can. If I do my job right, no one fires a bullet, no one finds out until the place is empty and we are long gone. I'll trash any recordings of what happened. I got an upgrade, I told him, tapping the back of my head where my cyberdeck is installed. Okay, but what if you do get seen, and word gets out? I opened my mouth to assure him that wouldn't happen before closing it. Okay. I don't wear my normal gear. I'll suit up in something new. We all will. Masks and everything. Your Veal 4 Columbus truck isn't exactly unique either. It's the most common moving truck in Night City, he said, rolling his eyes. And that was done on purpose. It was Jotaro-sama's idea. Drive around in a vehicle no one would look twice at, he said, sounding a little sad. Uck. Ichi, don't feel bad about that bastard. Well, it works for us. So we go buy some gear first, and then we'll be good to go. I don't have the eddies for that, Malcolm said outright. I've been out of work for a few weeks since the war and stuff. Not exactly doing great either, Ichi agreed, and I nodded. Not to worry, Chooms. This is a business expense, and will come out of the company expense account. I'll pay for it, you can pay me back later, or not. I don't really care. Motoko. I'm not gonna steal from a Chew. They both started arguing, but I waved a hand at both of them to shush them. We'll make 10 times whatever I pay for the gear we need on the loot, and I can't make much just by myself. You guys bring the truck, and the looting experience. So I'll pay for this. You pay with your truck, and Hiromi I guess is paying by taking care of the least important stuff. I add right at the end teasingly, as I noticed Hiromi's eyes turned back to normal as her call ended. The fact she kicked me hard in the shin a moment later was totally worth the look of outrage on her face. Motoko, she snapped at me, making me giggle up a storm as even Ichi and Malcolm started chuckling along. Sorry. You finding buyers is super important. Find anything? Not yet. I was calling my dad for advice. I hope that doesn't bother you, Motoko. I did tell him what we are doing. I winced a little but in the end shrugged. I highly doubt a small ripper dock and some scavs will interest your dad at all. So I think we're good. What did he say? He's gonna give me a shard on marketing that I apparently need to study now. She grumbled, glaring at nothing. But he did give me some advice on who to contact from Arasaka intel that he has access to. So yeah, we have some options. He suggested I know what I'm selling before I start calling around though. Great. So we go, clear it out, and then Hiromi can find us buyers. This is gonna be so much fun. I cheered, getting looks from everyone at the table. They just didn't understand why raiding scavs was fun because they were boring and afraid of bullets and stuff. It's fine. More fun for me. Obviously I wasn't going to rush into this. So even as the sun was going down, we were all heading away from Hog Club towards a certain little shop I know. We entered in through the front. The guard was still around, the LMG in his hands deadly, but after we entered he went on to ignore us as I walked up to the little old Asian lady that I had bought my leotards from. Oh, back again, and with friends? I need some work done. Or at least supplies. I'm wondering if you can help me out? She looked over the little oval glasses she was wearing at the four of us before beckoned us into the back of her shop. Let's talk. What you need. 3 hours later we were actually getting close to being done. I had paid for a rush job since we were all here and had the time at the moment. Between machines, the old lady's incredibly fast stitching and machine work, and me quickly starting to help out, which surprised her, I got my crew all specced out. Hiromi had even headed out to grab some new boots and supplies for everyone to go along with it. They weren't netrunner suits exactly, more just heavily armored clothing. But they were tight, dark-colored, and looked pretty cool. All of us would even match. I mean, sure, I had considered going for the 3-piece suit look. Can't beat a classic look. But considering only Corpus wore anything close to that, we would stand out, and the goal was to try and stand out as little as possible while staying protected. Even if we were in matching clothes. Done. The lady mentioned pulling out a final jacket piece out of the machine, looking it over and throwing it at Hiromi. With that we were all done. Boots, armored pants and armored shirt and jacket. It looked pretty generic, but it was armored clothing, and would give us some anonymity. Thanks, Abasan. Pay me first then thank me. She barked at me with a chuckle as I nodded quickly and did just that. The payment was hefty. I was really lucky I had gotten Regina's eddies, otherwise that would have broken my bank. Now I don't know what you are planning. Nor do I want to. I never helped you. Get out, she ordered, waving at the door, and we all gathered up our leftover clothes and rushed out towards the cars. Hiromi jumped in to ride with me in the Quadra as we all split off. Preparation almost complete. Soon we strike. What are you wearing? June asked as I was standing in the bathroom looking at the mirror making some adjustments to my new outfit. It's my new secret killer outfit. I found a scav den attached to a ripper dock. We are going to clear the place out and loot it to the bedrock, but we don't want anyone knowing it's us. I told June as I kept working on my stitching. I needed to make sure it fit right. It would be really annoying if not. Okay ninja girl, he said, and I quickly spun around, throwing my hands into a ninja hand sign as I did. 9-inch nails, 9-inch nails, I told him seriously. What I had been working on was a face mask, a ninja mask specifically. I had spent a little extra at the old lady's shop and bought some really breathable cloth so I could make it. You look like a dork. What's with the fingers? My secret ninjutsu. Embarrassing, eh? Secret ninjutsu. Motoko kick. I called out, rushing towards him, but June knew a bad fight and instead of fighting back turned and ran. My kick missed by a mile, but that wasn't enough to stop me. Secret ninjutsu, burrito throwing knife. Burrito wa June in his haste to flee had left the wrapped XXL burrito on the kitchen counter. I of course made do with my improvised weapon that smacked right into my brother's face as he turned to see what I was doing. Motoko. Ha ha ha. Pretty Princess Ninja Motoko wins Agurk. That of course was the sound of my Borg brother tackling me onto the hard tile of the kitchen. Lesson learned. Leave John's burritos alone, he gets touchy about it. Dash. Once I finally fought off the Oni, I had nearly 24 hours before the gig was set to begin. Without any other prep I could get into at the moment. So I pulled out my guitar and started thrashing, letting all the nervous energy flow into it. Yeah, I was a little nervous. It was one thing being on a gig solo, but even if I wasn't planning on having my tunes involved until the end, that still meant they were there. One wrong move and they would get involved trying to help, so I put the energy into the guitar. It was nice. I'll burn it down, I yelled out the last line. Franz Ferdinand isn't usually my taste, but it was an official Cyberpunk song. This Fire was an alright song. I didn't hate it. Plus it fit the energy I was feeling. Rockaboy skill level up. 1 perk point gained. I caught my breath as I checked my stats. Rockaboy 5, huh? That was pretty fast, but then again, I was playing song after song whenever I wasn't grinding something else. I think mostly it was my general disinterest in most of the TV shows in the future. They were weird, so I didn't want to watch them. One episode of just about anything was enough for me to burn out on it. But I knew what perk to pick. My biggest problem with music now wasn't song list or playing. It was singing. Listen, I just never really learned how to sing. It's more complicated than just singing along while driving down the road or something, you know? So I picked the perk I had almost picked last time. Siren Song. You control your voice. You can sing, croon like Sinatra, or rock like Silverhand. You know how to get the most out of your voice. I shivered. Rockaboy have given me some singing lessons, even if it felt like they fell behind the actual musical knowledge. It was like knowing how to sing a note, and knowing how to sing a song. They weren't exactly the same. I reached up to my throat, swallowing down almost like I had something caught in my throat, but it was just how I was holding the muscles in my throat. I knew how to actually modulate my voice now. How to sing, how to breath and exhale while singing. Hell, I knew how to mimic voices now. That made me blink. Could I? I looked around the room. There wasn't a mirror anywhere, so I hurried to the bathroom looking at myself in the mirror. A mirror of a mirror. I had mirrored myself in a way. Motoko Kusanagi. A storybook character that I had practically become. Similar eyes, same hair, hell same build, even if mine was meat and not chrome for the most part. Honestly, there were times I forgot that I was basically playing pretend. But was I? It wasn't any different than someone deciding to wear the same clothes as some celebrity, or the same haircut. I just also shared a name, well, and a burgeoning skill set, but that was going to happen anyways. But this might be a little too far. If anyone found out, it would be so embarrassing. The net is vast and infinite. I spoke, but it wasn't my voice. Oh no. It was husky and mature, and I could feel my face flush in delight and embarrassment. I cleared my voice and decided I could do it, saying a line I remember from the show. Batter not more weight training equipment. Blowing your pay is one thing. Oh god, I can't do it. Sexy Motoko voice is too much. I still remember that scene where Motoko makes Bato punch himself. It was one of my favorites. But to be able to literally copy her voice. Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Sorry I took your voice for a minute. I'm such a weeb. Omphal. I buried my head in my knees for a moment, trying to keep making any more noises of embarrassment. I relaxed my throat, letting my voice go back to normal. Okay. I'm gonna have to put a ban on sexy Motoko voice. That's a secret dangerous skill. What is? June asked, having come out of his room at some point as he pulled open the fridge. Nothing. You didn't hear anything. You can't tell. I screamed at him, even pulling up my guitar which I still had strapped to my hip, and pointed it at him. Would I knock June unconscious if he knew? Yes. Yes, I would. He blinked at me as he reached in and grabbed a drink, pulling the can out and popping the tab in one motion before taking a long sip. Motoko. Emoto. You're really weird. He finally said, crushing me in a totally unexpected way. I gaped at him as he walked away. You destroy your little sister's self-esteem and just walk away? Yep. That bastard. Tease me, will he? Fine, I will just have to release my new secret skill. For revenge. I stepped out of the bathroom after him, waiting for him to be almost into his bedroom when I spoke, but not in my voice. No, the Major's husky words poured forth. June, you should be nicer to your little sister. You never know when she's going to grow up. I pointed out, and I enjoyed the way my words affected my brother. First he had stilled at the unfamiliar voice searching around until he saw me, and then he was left gaping this time. What the fuck? Aha, June boy. Those are naughty words. I told him, still in my sexy voice. Motoko? What the fuck? What's wrong, June knee? Is there something bothering you? I asked, my smirking growing wide. Tease me, will he? Make fun of me, will he? I have skills. All of the skills. Motoko, that's super creepy. Is that so? I asked him before reaching up and messing with my throat a little. That's gonna take some getting used to. I told him in my normal voice. Don't do that again. That's creepy. Where did you even learn to do that? What's wrong, June? Is your little sister growing up scaring you? Funnily, June didn't answer, just sort of throwing up his arms and then pointing at me and shaking his hand in my direction as if saying enough was enough. Sleep tight, Tilda, I said, returning to my sexy voice which had June swiftly run away. Victory is mine. Now who's weird? Huh? Actually. Messing with my brother with a sexy mature voice. Fuck. I am weird. I muttered,